Hi guys, I'm Blanca Tattooed, and as per request, I'll be talking about how to get an apprenticeship, how to get started in tattooing. This video has been requested because it is quite alluring. How do you get started in a field where there's no room for mistakes? How do you get the first couple people to come and trust you? Do you go to a studio? Do you do it at home? What kind of studios should you take a chance on? I'll be hitting on all of these things. Also at the end, I'll be hitting on how to build a bit of a brand for yourself, how to get started on the whole social media aspect. I will be giving away all of my secrets, seeing as I'm still an apprentice, I'm pretty fresh, and this is all advice that I wish that someone had given me when I started. Studio or self-taught? Now, personally, I believe in, because that was my path, learning at a studio. That's a professional environment. You're learning with other people. You have any questions, there's a bunch of professionals who are able to answer your questions. They all have a whole lot more practice. Supplies are provided. It brings a whole lot more legitimacy to your work. You're not working from home. People are gonna trust you more, and it's just safer for you in general. Do you really want random people coming to your house? I know a lot of people are apprehensive of going to the studio because tattoo artists are dickheads. It's true, but it doesn't have to be the case. If you go to a studio and you don't like the vibe, just get the fuck out of there. You know, there's a lot of cool studios. This whole like culture of like not really respecting the whole customer service thing, it's becoming outdated, and more places are realizing that. Now, common argument that I hear people saying about studios is it's kind of classist. It's classist because not everyone is accepted, and like marginalized groups, like they don't have a space. That's valid, and honestly, I don't know. I am very privileged, and the first studio I applied to, they said yes. But also, every kind of high-paying job is gonna have those, like that kind of discrimination. However, I would argue that high-paying jobs will often need academic shit, like you need a degree. Studios don't really care about that. Yeah, they're not too focused on like academia. Honestly, if you have like felonies and shit, I don't think they would care too much about that either. So I would argue that studios are actually quite accessible. I have had people ask me, should I go to school for tattooing? No, don't. For school, you're gonna be paying a whole lot of money, and it's not that worth it. I have a colleague who went to school and she said that it was absolute bullshit, and she actually didn't even finish her degree. Every country has different mandates, and I can only speak for the 2 countries that I have worked in. France does require a permit. It's a 3-day course that costs between 400 and 500 euros. I have worked with a lot of artists that are not licensed, since it's enforced pretty loosely here. But if you know that tattooing is gonna be right for you and you're gonna do it full time, I really do recommend you get licensed. Hungary, however, does not require a permit. There are many training programs, but I would only suggest pursuing that if you didn't manage to get an apprenticeship. For hygiene and stuff like that, I'm sure it is important, but you could also learn that at the studio if they're like legitimate. So no, I wouldn't recommend going to school. Just get an apprenticeship. It's for free, and you learn a whole lot quicker. Now, hygiene is very crucial. If you really hate working at a studio, I would say just get an apprenticeship, learn the hygiene aspect, really nail that down, and then you can dip out. What is it that you can do at home before applying to a studio? Some homework. You can learn theory. I'm sure there are a lot of resources, whether that's hygiene or just like learning about skin conditions or whatever it may be. Also, fake skin. If you already have your hands on a machine and you have the equipment at home, you can start doing it with fake skin. Now I completely skipped that step. I went straight for skin because it's just incomparable. Skin and fake skin, like, it's worlds apart. I don't think that fake skin is gonna give you a whole lot. Maybe, I think to get the machine comfortable in your hands, it would probably help for that, but not much beyond that. Finding a shop to take a chance on you. Some things that can give you leverage before even applying. If you're a regular at the shop, if they already know you, they're gonna have a bit more trust with you. You know, you're spending your money there, you become friendly with them. That's a good reason for them to take the time and listen to you. Contact anyone you know that might be in the tattoo industry. Connections always help. That's how I got my apprenticeship. I knew a dude, one of my friends, his dad's, went to this place, whatever. Someone knew someone, and I thought that was a pretty great start. Another great thing is if you send them messages on their Instagram or email saying, hey, here's what I can offer. Do you mind if I come in at some point for a chat just to elaborate on my skills? Chances are if they say yes at that point that they're already interested. Having a following on social media can also help marketing the studio. Probably as an artist, it's better, you know, if you already have like an established clientele or potential clientele. Okay, you have your interview. Now, seize the opportunity. Art experience does help. Now, a lot of tattoo artists do already have this, so you're not gonna have a whole lot more of an advantage, but it is good. You know, any kind of art experience, whether that's like graphic design or illustration, just to know that when you're making your designs, your flashes, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be something that people are gonna want. You should come with a portfolio. Try and print it out. People like having a flash book. Emphasize that you're a hard worker. If you don't have a job next to tattooing, that I think that is also a plus. You'll be able to stay in the full days. It will come off as a little bit lazy or skimping out if you have to leave early all the time, but it does work. Like, not every studio is gonna see that as a negative. Be ready to clean and do some dirty work. Unfortunately, that is a bit of an older thing that apprentices are the ones that are doing all the cleaning, like with the toilet and stuff, and some places you will have to do the cleaning. Now, at the later studios I've been to recently, the boss takes care of all of that. That's their job. If you're able to socialize, you have a good energy, your communication skills are good, that's always attractive because you're going to be working with a team, you're going to have colleagues, you have to meld with them well. Also, I think it's already like a good thing if you like come with a little like almond milk coffee or something. It doesn't cost a lot. Put the person in a good mood when they're interviewing you. Do you need to be tattooed to be taken seriously? No. I know of people who don't have tattoos at all and they are tattoo artists. I don't have any visible tattoos. It's not really an issue. You as an artist, your relationship to tattoos is gonna be different than your clients' relationships to tattoos. Just because you don't want any doesn't mean that you can't do a good job. Post-interview, you did the interview, they're interested. How do you decide whether to say yes? What are the conditions? Is the place clean? What supplies are provided? What will they be asking of you? What's the boss like? Do they tattoo? I'm sure there are some people that are an exception, but I have been to a studio where the owner didn't tattoo and he didn't give a rat's ass what conditions I was working in. He just was concerned with getting his cut and he ended up taking a lot of my money. As an apprentice, studios understand that you will not be making an income for them. They're taking a chance on you in hopes that you will become a really great artist and that later on you will become a permanent artist there. It's a little bit of a I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. If they're looking for a slave, get the fuck out of there. I don't think that you should be doing all the manual labor. In that case, they should just hire a cleaning person. If they talk down to you, if they're entitled, you know, if they already have like bad energy off the bat, trust me, it's only gonna get worse. Take people's intentions at face value when they show their true colors. So if they're considering it like, as long as I get my money, you could use the space, don't do that, because then you could just be doing that at home and you don't have to pay anyone else. This should be a learning experience. They should be ready to be able to teach you. It's not gonna be a course. They're not gonna spend all their time with you. You should get the feeling that like they will take the time out of their day to you know, teach you how to tattoo. Now, honestly, it's gonna take a while before they give you a tattoo machine. What can you do at the studio before you can start tattooing? Take initiative. These people are busy, and as much as like they're willing to give resources, you have to take advantage of the provided resources. You have to reach out, you have to ask for help. All of your colleagues have an immense amount of knowledge. Take advantage of that. Now, don't step on their toes and don't be always in their way, but when the shop is a little bit more quiet, ask if they can show you how they set up their station. After a while, you should get the hang of that. Maybe offer to set up their station for them and they can watch. You should be able to set up stations and probably know needle sizes and things like that. Identify what needle you're gonna use for what tattoo, like what kind of line, before you even start tattooing, because these are all theoretical things that you can get out of the way prior. Just nail the hygiene, needle size, and setup by the time that you start tattooing. Okay, you've been there for a while, you know a couple things in theory. Who's gonna take a chance on you? Why should people trust you with their skin? Start with friends. If they have a shitty tattoo, at least it's gonna be a nice memory. If you have any friends that are willing to sacrifice their bodies, maybe they don't care as much about like the clean and prestigious look. And those are great people to start with. Now, I would suggest starting with only ignorant style things. I'll pop up some examples. Only do ignorant style in the beginning because something that is purposefully ugly will look much better than something that is accidentally ugly. If you're going for realism off the bat, it's gonna look like shit. If you're doing a little stick figure and it's wibbly wobbly, that's cute. It's part of the look. It's adding texture. Now, you can promise them off the bat that once you get good, you'll be able to fix them up. So I would honestly suggest not even using black ink in the beginning, unless they're really into the ugly look and they do want to keep it. Start with lighter colors or just colors in general. You'll be able to cover them up easier. And don't do visible spots, because if it really goes bad, you don't want them looking at it all day. And once you have the hang of it with a couple friends, you know, you've tattooed like 5 people, then I would say you could start reaching out to human canvases. You've run out of friends to tattoo. What's next? You have a huge advantage. You can offer free tattoos. Now you may think, who wants a free tattoo? Trust me. The way that I got my start in tattooing was that I had posted a TikTok saying who wants a free tattoo at a legitimate studio that isn't like a crack den. I got like 800 followers in a day. People really like free stuff. So if you really want to follow in my steps, just post a TikTok saying, hey, I'm a beginner. I'm looking for canvases. Let me practice on you, please. Here are some of my designs. And people will come running. At that point, you're gonna have like 100 people lined up, schedule them in, and slowly start going at it. The way that it worked at my studio was that I had to pay a fee because I was using their supplies like the ink cup, their printer, the receptionist, rent. I was using a bed, just, you know, just like basic fees to take care of that. For us, it was 3,000 forints. That's around €8, and I would ask the clients to pay that for me. At that point, I would always emphasize that this money is going to the studio. It's still free because I'm not getting paid. Give a reason for people to care. Whether that's because you have an interesting style, it's unique, you provide a certain demographic. What I've realized is that there's a huge hole in the market for young queer artists. I'm sure people of color also. If you see yourself in your artist, you're gonna feel a bit safer. So just because your demographic is underrepresented does not mean that there's no space for you. That means that there's a hole and you should be filling that space. Make sure that your customer service is top notch. Try and answer any and all questions that people may be asking. Be nice, you know, be friendly, take the time with everyone. Also, if you're an artist, maybe you have stickers or prints, maybe say that that's part of the deal. Build a brand. It looks much better to be known as a tattoo artist rather than someone who's just a person and happens to tattoo. Make it your identity on social media. Make sure that your bio is legit, it's up to standard, it's professional looking. Make sure that your profile picture is the same on all social media. Try and make an icon, like a logo for your brand. Now, the username format that most tattoo artists use is it'll be their name and then either TTT or tattoo or something like that, or ink. Make sure that you have a little FAQ in your highlights. I would suggest starting with Instagram. That's a pretty accessible platform. A lot of tattoo artists are there, and in the beginning, I would just suggest taking bookings through DMs. Make sure that you say in your bio that your bookings are open and that they can do it through your DMs. I would say try and rely on multiple social medias at once. It might be overwhelming, but it will be a really great marketing strategy to get your name out there. Instagram is where most artists post their work. Now, let me manage your expectations. Tattooing is a very difficult career. There won't be anybody patting you on the back constantly, telling you that you're doing a good job, and you're gonna suck for a really long time before you start getting good. It's gonna take a huge toll on your mental health because you're putting permanent stuff on people's bodies, unless you're just not that deep, in which case, like, but it is a lot of trust that people put in your hands, and in the beginning, there's definitely imposter syndrome of why are so many people trusting me with such a big thing. Salary is not guaranteed. The shop will not pay you. Or like, no, I haven't heard of any shop that pays you. In fact, I've heard of shops where you need to pay to be an apprentice. So I would recommend either having a job next to being an apprentice or have a significant amount of savings. It is emotionally, physically, creatively, socially, exhausting. You have to be nice to people all the time and be patient with every single person because they deserve it. It's their body that is being altered. You need to listen to them. Customer service is A1 in tattooing. That would be horrible if someone felt like unsafe or uncomfortable or like a nuisance around you. Creatively, I was personally drawing up original designs for every single person during our session. It was cool because now I'm able to make an original piece of art very quickly, but it's tiring creatively. I was ridiculously drained all the time, although that was because I was tattooing 3 people every day, 7 days a week, all summer. So, I mean, I honestly though, I would recommend that. Just like push. Just get it out of the way. Just try and be as good as you can in a short period of time. A lot of people quit. Like a lot of people don't see it through because of all these reasons. But I would love it if someone, actually I have had people message me of how did you get started, and I wrote it down as quickly as I could, and a lot of people were very surprised that you don't actually need to know how to tattoo to get an apprenticeship. You learn then and there, and I think there's been 2 people who have started their tattoo careers because of me, so I would love it if you know, there was more. Now some words of encouragement. Speaking multiple languages is good, but it's also not necessary. At my last job, I was considered to know 2 languages because other than Hungary, no one really speaks fucking Hungarian, so that's not really useful here in France. But here in France, I don't speak French, and y'all know that in France, you need to know French. But I've been able to, you know, I've found an English clientele of international people, so that's pretty cool. Studios want your style. Don't think that just because you don't do traditional stuff, the more out of the box you are, the better. If your style does happen to be more on the minimalist side, more like cutesy, small, just line art stuff, very in style right now. It's a very sought after look that studios do enjoy. You actually don't need to go broke though when starting. For your like living, like you won't be able to make money for rent and groceries and things like that, but you won't be losing money either. I'll be posting a video about that though, on how you can make that happen. A lot of people do go very, very broke. There is a lot of money in the industry though. I've been tattooing for 4 months. I know it's ridiculous, but I practiced a lot. So I was able to speed that whole thing up. I make a lot of money now, though. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a different video, though. So once you do push through all the really difficult stuff, there's a huge reward waiting at the other side of the rainbow. Hours are pretty flexible, even though I do think that it is preferred if you're able to stay at the studio all day, every day. I know a lot of people that just do it after school. Now I tattoo after school. During the summer I was working constantly, but now I just work 2 days of the week. It works. I'm able to make it work for my schedule. It's a really cool industry. As difficult and as sucky as it can be sometimes, I do think that it's the best job in the world. It doesn't get any more honest than that when someone compliments your art and they want it on their body. That's no bullshitting. I used to think people only said that to be nice, but now that they get it on themselves, my designs, you know, it doesn't get more honest than that. It's very rewarding. I have met a lot of very cool people. I've made a lot of friends through tattooing. It's just incredibly rewarding in every way. It's also very hands-on. I do animation, which is mostly digital. And so to do something with my hands and like it's tactile and it's like interactive, it's just so great. It's just such a great balance for me. So that's it. That's pretty much it. I covered everything that I feel like is relevant to becoming an apprentice. I hope that that was helpful. I'll be happy to answer any questions in another video. Thanks for listening. Good luck. Keep me posted.